Okay, so we're going to talk some finance things. Go figures, right? So our hot topic today is about something called loud budgeting. So a new trend has emerged called loud budgeting, and it's basically a trend where people are challenging the spending norms and being very loud about it. So when you're looking at your budgeting and your spending decisions, it's not about saying you don't have enough money to spend, but more about not wanting to spend on frivolous things. So it's called loud budgeting because you're being very positive about your decision. And you're saying, well, I don't want to spend the money on this. I rather spend it on that. And that's the loud part. Because persons are basically telling you that they have more important things to spend their money on, as opposed to saying, well, I just can't afford it. Right? So that's the loud aspect of it. The trend is basically a trend being driven by the average working person, and it is the opposite of the other trend, which is called quiet luxury. If you're familiar with that trend, right? That's where you're flaunting your luxury quietly, as they say. But this is supposed to be the opposite, where you're actually making the statement that listen, I am not going to spend my money on these things, but I'm going to spend it on something else. And the trend is encouraging people to maybe find alternatives. So, for example, one example of the loud budgeting is here. I am not buying food. I am making my meals at home, which it's very similar to budgeting on the whole. But what the loud part is about making it a very positive thing for you and not an oppressive type of thing. So it's almost like shaming the quiet luxury trend a bit and kind of saying, well, you know what, I have better things to do with my money. That's the basic trend of it. Now, what does it mean for small businesses? Trends like this are important for you to understand because your business might end up being the frivolous thing that they choose to not spend their money on, right? Being luxurious and being flashy are no longer the desirable state now. And if your marketing efforts were tapping into that, then you may end up on the chopping board, right? Despite having a perfectly good product. It has nothing to do with the product being good or bad or the product not being good enough, but it's about the personal spending decision. So you need, as a business owner, to pay attention to this trend to see if this trend affects your target audience. Because then this means that your target audience is reassessing their decisions and they're reassessing the way that they spend their money. So you need to figure out if your target audience is moving towards this trend and your product or your offering is on the chopping board, then you're going to have to make some decisions. Are you going to shift to a different target audience? Or are you going to keep your product? Remember, it has nothing to do with your product being bad per se, but it's about what the target audience is feeling. So it's important for like this and even any other finance trends that you as a business owner have to know because if your target audience is thinking about their spending decisions, you may end up on the bad end of things because, like I said, you could end up on the chopping board and you may not know why. And you may be pushing your marketing money towards these things and not realizing, well, it's a trend that my audience is picking up. Maybe I need to shift to a different audience.